We make money to travel by selling private label on Amazon.
If you've been along this series with us, we talked about how we were doing YouTube. We shared the money that we were making there. That's when I started my consulting business that you can see in the second video. In that timeline, the Amazon story begins.
Coming back from our trip, I knew 100% that I needed to have a location-independent business, that I wouldn't have to be anywhere in the same time zone or wouldn't have to physically be present. Having an Amazon business was just one among many options I had looked at when I came back, and it seemed, because of my background in procurement and purchasing, one that was the best fit and would be easiest for me to get off the ground. Before we left for the trip, and I think it's important for the transparency here, like I was making $75,000 a year in Chicago as a procurement manager at a marketing company where everybody cared that you were there for like 10 hours a day. I had a stupid commute. Even though I was in the city, it took 45 minutes each way to go, just not that far.
And another, work culture where you're expected to be at happy hour, and the longer you stay, like the better an employee. $75,000 sounds like a large salary for you. We're in a really expensive city, and then when it comes down to like your time for your hours put in, Tim was working events on the weekends and things like that, and that's relevant
I forgot about that.
Because now when we come back and talk about Tim getting just like a very entry-level kind of cold calling sales position, and he's taking home less than $40,000, Tim also walked to work, and he was only there for about 6 or 7 hours a day, and nobody batted an eye when he left, when he walked in at 9:30 in the morning and left at 4:30. What that did is it gave Tim the other 8 hours, which is an incredible book if you if this is motivating you to work on his full-time business. I don't know how you would have done that with the big Chicago job, and then Tim was also being offered other positions when we came back. Companies contacting him, do you want to do this? Well, he was saying no to more money at those other jobs because this was so low pressure, and it gave him the time to do Amazon. So I just want to say,
it was time to like double down on myself and not worry about making incremental more, but completely freeing myself. And listen, I know that if you're like watching this, it's like, oh great, you're sitting there talking like we didn't know it was gonna work, but it was just that.
That's a good point.
Hindsight's completely 2020, but just. There comes a time, we've all been there, felt that frustration, knew we can do our own thing. That was my time when I really felt the calling, and it was time to like take that risk.
And we were just so desperate. This isn't gonna speak to everyone if you're just kind of like casually watching our channel and you're just kind of curious how we make money type thing. But if you are out there and you are like, I hate my job, I hate my lifestyle of commuting and going in and being on somebody else's time, you get this. Any sacrifice necessary, like canceling dinner plans, can't go to the wedding, all of those sacrifices that we have done for so many years.
I love how fired up you are.
Like that is, of course, like everyone's looking at Tim, and like we're driving a 96 Camry, and like our friends have like these beautiful cars and homes and are starting to have kids and like these great jobs, and we're telling people, no, thanks for like setting me up for the interview with like your friend type thing. Like we don't want it. We need Tim's time to dedicate to Amazon.
The first 2 months when we got back, I spent learning about the business. I was talking to a supplier by maybe March, and then I had my first order. I had spent $500 on backpacks from China about 5 months after we got home, because it took about 2 months to get them from the supplier.
That's really fast.
It was fast. If $500 that's like a small order, but it was something to get started. One of the things I got into this whole mindset with was I was just gonna keep taking steps forward until I failed or succeeded, which I know might sound kind of cheesy.
No, it sounds so
But it was just, I wanted to either this is gonna work or it's not gonna work. And if it's not gonna work, I'm gonna find the next thing.
Right, maybe the product doesn't work, and then you're testing different products.
And guess what? That first product didn't work. But it was a great learning opportunity. Great. It got me in the game. It got me into my second product, which also didn't work. But we weren't losing money.
What was it?
So after the backpack, we tried a packing organizer thing that didn't work either. But that led us to the packing cubes that we do now. It's all just about baby steps to finding the right thing.
does that all work for somebody who doesn't really know what this whole like Amazon world is and what an Amazon FBA is?
Sure. So again, we private label. So that means that we have our own brand. I have manufacturers overseas that are making our products. They are shipping to us. When we first started, and we've got some B-roll of this, I was literally like getting the packages at the house, doing the inspection myself. We were hand stuffing like our business cards into it and then sending that out to Amazon.
Because it's like a quality check. You don't know what's coming from overseas if you're just going to send it off to Amazon for them to put it in the warehouse to then ship out when somebody buys it. We're like, oh, maybe we should send it to our house at the time and go in and look and be like, this is what we ordered.
Right,
okay.
It was new suppliers, yeah.
Right. I'm just saying, like, you wouldn't necessarily like think about that.
But now we have really trusted suppliers, like people who understand our business, understand our quality level, and when you've been working with somebody for a while, and I know this is with a lot of private labelers on Amazon, they're shipping directly from the factory to Amazon, and when Amazon gets an order, Amazon has their own warehouse. We've all seen the crazy warehouses on TV. People working, they actually go like, pick your product and ship it out. So people who imagine that we're driving around in the RV with a trailer full of backpacks and packing cubes behind us, we don't ship things out ourselves. Those are all in a warehouse. We just manage the innovation part of it, the marketing. Obviously, we're the ones buying the stock, adding new products, that sort of thing.
Managing the inventory.
All the risk is still us. It is our business. The difference is we don't have to run a warehouse.
Right. Then Amazon takes returns. If anybody has a problem with our products, then they send it back to Amazon, who processes it, and then our business refunds the money there. So what that business model is called Fulfilled by Amazon. That's the Amazon FBA business.
2017 was our first full year in business. By the 5th month was when I had my first product being sold. Just to be transparent on money here, we had almost no sales until July, September. I ran out of stock in August. By the time I got restocked, we were full into Q4, and I had given myself a very low bar. The day I make $100 in profit is the day I celebrate, because that meant we could kind of live in Bali at $100 a day in profit. I know that's silly, but it was a low bar. We had a day in Q4 in 2017 where we made over $250 a day in profit, and that's when it hit me, this was going to work. For 2017, we did $30,000 in sales, but only about $5,000 in profit total.
In the first year.
So 2018 and beyond, only once I proved in Q4 of 2017 that the business was something I could scale was when I left my job. And luckily this is when Finn was doing her consulting business, supported me 100% on yes, you need to spend more time on learning this business. Let's double down on that. We have proof of concept, now it's time to scale.
Because that meant that between all of our revenue sources, we had enough to get on the road. So that's a great starting place for you too. It's all these revenue streams. So this right now is almost a compilation of all of the videos in the series. We had the YouTube income, we had my consulting, and then we had this $100 a day from Amazon, and then whatever piece of that puzzle is working the best, then you can just dedicate your time into, and just for us, that was Amazon. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but does that take us into now?
Well, Finn, that does take us into right now. So Amazon's turned into an animal unto itself. I guess I don't want to say that like that. So trip travel gear on Amazon was this cute little idea at first, and now it's starting to grow into pretty formidable perro.
The fact that now Amazon supports all 3 of us are sleeping.
I feel like Pepper doesn't really contribute to the family. Oh, she's uppy down.
See, Amazon now supports all of her gravy and kibbles.
Okay.
Well, this got silly all of a sudden. We're uncomfortable talking now about the success of the business, because I don't think really we can even believe that we're here where we are, and this is just this is the result of so much hard work Like, we are entrepreneurs. We're here in a beautiful high-rise building in Guadalajara with our like cute little dog. Like, we're living a normal lifestyle, being able to travel. There's just like so many great resources, and
there's so many terrible resources out there too. There's a great guy, his name's Scott Volkner. He's got an Amazon podcast. We will throw that link below.
Because we have an episode on it talking about our business. Heath and Alyssa, if you're RVers, I'm sure you know them. They interviewed us on their RV Entrepreneur podcast regarding the Amazon FBA business as well. If this just sounds so intimidating, because to be honest, like, I am not a product person. This would not be up my alley at all if I was watching this. Like, Tim touches the fabric and he looks at the zippers and he's like, oh, like he's like, look at this, and I'm like, oh, colors. Like, I mean, that's just not my thing. But the point of why this business is so successful for this lifestyle is it's not contingent on a specific time zone or has like no time related to it. It doesn't demand time for money. It's completely scalable, and you don't need a lot of resources to do it. We don't need a lot of other employees working for us that now we're managing. We don't need space because Amazon controls all of that. But if the products are scaring you, you can also create a business similar to this with information.
We're gonna break this video down into 3 sections where you guys are gonna talk about what is a digital product, how to start, and how to market it and actually make some sales. Cool. So please, Louise, teach us what is a digital product and the different types.
Sure.